Have you ever felt the silence of someone who was once close? One day, they're a part of your life: lunchtime calls, friendly greetings over the fence, shared moments over a cup of coffee. And then the next day, they vanish like morning mist under the sun. No goodbye, no explanation, just you and the deafening emptiness left behind. That silence, like a cold wind sweeping through your soul, can make you wonder, what did I do wrong? What is my worth if they could leave without looking back? But today I invite you to pause, take a deep breath, and see that silence through a different lens. It is not a condemnation, it is a doorway. A powerful reminder that, no matter how harsh life may seem, you still hold the power to shape it. Together we'll explore 7 truths about why people distance themselves from us. Not to blame them, not to cling to what is lost, but to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, of the strength within that no one can take away. We will draw wisdom from the Stoic masters Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, who taught that what is beyond our control does not have the power to define us. This is not a story about loss. This is a journey to reclaim peace, a path where you realize that someone else's silence is not a burden. It is the road to your freedom. If you've ever faced distance, if you've ever felt the cold sting of being ignored, stay with me. Make yourself a cup of tea, find a quiet corner of your home, and let's step into this journey together. The truth awaits us ahead, and it will be more powerful than any words you've ever heard. Let me tell you about Clara, a middle-aged woman living in the suburbs of Ohio, where the streets turned golden every autumn. She was the kind of person everyone turned to when they needed a shoulder to lean on. She listened as friends vented about long workdays, comforted her children through life's stumbles, and always wore a smile even when her own heart felt heavy. But at 48, Clara decided to change. She dusted off the old piano sitting in the corner of her home, started journaling every night, and revisited dreams she had once set aside for others. Then something strange happened. Clara's phone stopped ringing. The friends who used to call every weekend no longer texted. Sunday afternoon coffee meetups became less frequent until they disappeared entirely. She wondered, have I become selfish? Or am I no longer good enough for them to stay? The silence surrounded her like an invisible wall, cold and incomprehensible. One winter evening, as a snowstorm howled outside her window, Clara lit an oil lamp and placed it on the windowsill. The warm golden glow illuminated the white snow, but within minutes, a strong gust of wind rushed in, and the flame flickered out. Clara gazed at the extinguished lamp, then smiled softly. She whispered to herself, I cannot keep a light burning for those who do not wish to see it, but I can keep it alive within this home for myself. From that moment on, Clara changed. She no longer searched for answers from those who had left. She no longer blamed herself for their silence. Instead, she embraced her own solitude, a space where she could truly listen to her heart, where she realized that her light did not need anyone else's recognition to shine. Clara learned what Seneca once wrote, we cannot control the wind, but we can keep the fire within us alive. When people distance themselves from you, it is not a rejection, it is a reminder that your light is meant for those who are ready to receive it. And if they are not, then their absence is a gift and opportunity for you to rediscover yourself. Remember Clara's story, for it will guide us through the 7 truths of God. Truth 1. They are testing your resilience. Silence is not always random or indifferent. It can be a deliberate test, whether the person behind it is aware of it or not. Some people ignore you, not out of disdain or boredom, but to measure your inner strength. They want to see how you react when left in the void. Will you panic, chase after them with desperate questions, or stand firm like a mountain in the storm? It's a subtle test, a power play they hope you will lose, not because they win, but because they need to confirm that your emotions are still under their control. Think of a close relationship in your life, perhaps a colleague who used to share stories over coffee breaks, or a longtime friend who frequently checked in on you. Then one day, everything changes. They stop replying to your messages, no longer initiate conversations, and the warmth in their eyes fades. You ask yourself, did I do something wrong? Did I unintentionally offend them? Your mind spins through countless possibilities: an offhand comment, a misunderstood action. But pause for a moment and look deeper. Maybe the truth isn't as complicated as you think. Maybe they're not angry, not upset, they're simply waiting, quietly observing what you will do next. Will you send another message with a worried tone? I just want to make sure everything is okay between us. Will you call them to break the silence, pleading for an explanation they never intended to give? This is where silence becomes a mirror, not to reflect your mistakes, but to reveal your strength. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king who faced war and betrayal, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Their silence is not a dagger, it is an opportunity, an invitation for you to affirm that you do not need their presence to feel whole, nor their words to validate your worth. When you choose not to chase, when you embrace silence instead of begging for answers, you break their game, not by fighting back, but by reclaiming control over your own life. But why does this matter? Because life, in its relentless nature, will always test us. People will leave, but if you allow their absence to shake your inner peace, you have handed them a power they do not deserve. Think about this. If an old friend stops reaching out, and you spend weeks blaming yourself, analyzing every last conversation, who is suffering? Not them, they have moved on, leaving you with unanswered questions. But if you choose differently, if you release the need to understand, to fix, you have already won. Not against them, but against your own fears. So how do you face this challenge? The next time someone ignores you, practice a small but powerful discipline. Wait 3 days. Do not text. Do not call. Do not let your mind spiral into self-doubt. Instead, use that time for yourself. Finish that report you've been putting off. Tend to your garden, or sit down with a book you've neglected. Let their silence become space for you to breathe, to hear your own inner voice. If, after 3 days, they return with an apology or a casual message as if nothing happened, you will know their true intent. Perhaps they were just busy, perhaps they needed time. But if they do not return, you have freed yourself from a relationship you never needed to hold on to in the first place. Stoicism does not teach us to ignore our emotions, it teaches us to master them. Other people's silence may make you sad, may hurt you for a moment, but it does not have the right to define you. You are the fire, and they are the wind. They may pass through, but they cannot extinguish you unless you allow them to. Stand firm, not to prove anything to them, but to prove to yourself that you are strong enough to move forward, with or without anyone by your side. Truth 2. They leave when you are no longer useful. Life, in its raw reality, sometimes resembles a forest where some people come to you not because of the deep roots of true friendship, but because of the sweet fruits you provide. They stay by your side for what you offer: a piece of advice in their moments of confusion, a helping hand when they fall, or simply your presence to ease their loneliness. But when the season of abundance ends, when you are no longer a source of benefit they can tap into, they leave your forest without a word, leaving you with the question, am I still worthy if I have nothing left to give? Think of someone in your life, perhaps a childhood friend who always turned to you when they needed someone to listen. You spend hours comforting them through breakups, career failures, and sleepless nights filled with worries. You did it not because you expected anything in return, but because you believed friendship was a natural exchange of care. But then one day, you stop being the person who is always available. Maybe life gets busy, family, work, or simply the need to take care of yourself. And what happens? The phone stops ringing. Your messages go unanswered. They no longer check in, no longer show up, no longer need you. The harsh truth is, they were never there for you, they were there for what you provided. When you are no longer a source of benefit, when you are no longer the fixer, the emotional support, or the one filling their emptiness, they have no reason to stay. This realization can feel like betrayal, like a wound that lingers, making you question your worth. But pause for a moment and look deeper. Their departure is not a judgment of you, it is a confession of who they are. They never truly saw you as a person with needs, limits, and dreams of your own. They only saw you as a tool. And when that tool was no longer useful, they discarded it without hesitation. Epictetus, a slave-turned-philosopher, once wrote, "Attach yourself only to what you can control, your own soul, and let everything else flow as it must." Your worth does not lie in what you give, nor in the validation of others. It exists in who you are, an unshakable truth that no one can take away. When someone leaves because you are no longer useful, it is not your failure, it is proof that they never deserved your presence in the first place. You are not a tree for them to pick fruit from and abandon when the season dries up. You are the entire forest, deep, resilient, and standing strong through every season. But how do you face this pain without letting it imprison you? Start by observing, not with resentment, but with the curiosity of someone seeking truth. Who in your life only appears when they need something? Who disappears when you are unable to give? Try a small experiment. The next time they call, don't rush to respond. Don't reject them harshly, but let them wait a day, a week, and see what happens. If they disappear immediately, you have your answer. If they stay, if they ask, "Are you okay?" without expecting anything in return, then you have found a rare gem among the rocks. Stoicism does not teach us to become cold or emotionless. It teaches us to discern what is worth holding on to and what is meant to be let go. Their departure may bring sadness, but do not let that sadness turn into self-blame. They are not the measure of your worth. They are merely travelers passing through, stopping for shade before continuing their journey. Let them go and focus on those who remain, the ones who do not need you to give anything to still value you. They are the true light in your forest, and they will stay not for the fruit, but for the roots that make you who you are. Truth 3. They are swayed by others' words. Silence is not always a personal choice. Sometimes it is the result of an external wind sweeping through their mind. There are people who were once close to you, who shared genuine moments with you, and then, without warning, they grow distant. No argument, no confrontation, just an invisible wall slowly rising between you. And then, through whispers from others, you realize the truth. They did not leave because of you, but because of what they heard about you: lies, judgments, distorted stories they chose to believe instead of coming to you for the truth. Imagine a family gathering you didn't attend. Someone tells your cousin she's too busy with work now. She doesn't care about family anymore. Instead of calling you to ask if it's true, your cousin believes the words. Your phone stops ringing, invitations to their home no longer arrive. You are pushed out of the circle not because of what you did, but because of a story they accepted without question. Or picture a colleague who used to eat lunch with you every day suddenly distant after hearing office gossip that you got promoted by sucking up to the boss rather than through hard work. They don't ask you, they don't seek the truth, they just quietly withdraw, leaving you in a silence filled with unspoken doubt. Here is a painful yet liberating truth. Their silence is not a reflection of you, it is a reflection of their own weakness. Seneca, the philosopher who survived the treacherous politics of Rome, once wrote, "A weak mind is easily swayed by the winds. It has no roots to stand firm against the storm of opinions." Those who let others dictate their thoughts, who believe rumors instead of seeking the truth, are not the people you can rely on in difficult times. They are not mountains that stand strong. They are leaves, drifting with any wind that blows, incapable of finding their own direction. But why does this happen? Because facing the truth requires courage to ask questions, to doubt, to admit they might be wrong. And not everyone is willing to be that brave. Instead of coming to you, instead of asking, "Is this true?" they take the easier path, believing what they hear, building a wall of silence, and walking away without a second glance. This can leave you feeling betrayed, misunderstood, even deeply hurt. But look deeper. Their departure is not an accusation against you. It is proof that they were never truly loyal to you, only to what they wanted to believe. So what should you do when this happens? Do not chase after them to explain. Do not try to break the silence with justifications or pleadings. Stoicism teaches us that you cannot control the thoughts of others, you can only control your own response. If they choose to believe lies over asking you for the truth, then they have already removed themselves from your life. Let them drift away like leaves in the wind. They will see the truth in time, when reality exposes the emptiness of the words they trusted. But by then you will no longer need them. You will have already found solid ground, unmoved by the currents of misunderstanding or dependence. Think of this as a natural cleansing process. Those who leave because of others' words are not the ones you need on your journey. They are dry leaves falling from the tree to make way for new branches, people who will come to you with honesty, with clear intentions, with loyalty unshaken by public opinion. Their silence, though painful, is a gift. It reveals who truly deserves your time and energy. And when you let go of the need to be understood by them, you will discover a profound freedom, the freedom to live as your true self, untethered from minds too weak to truly see you. Truth 4. They cannot accept your independence. When you start living on your own terms, setting boundaries and refusing to be controlled, some people will leave not because they hate you, but because they cannot handle the fact that you are no longer within their grasp. Their silence is not random, it is a reaction to your freedom, a freedom they never wanted you to have. They were comfortable when you were a part of the world they built, where you reacted as expected, where you compromised to keep the peace. But when you stand tall, when you say no and choose your own path, they withdraw, leaving behind silence as a warning or as an unspoken goodbye. Think of someone who was once close to you, perhaps an ex-partner who always expected you to agree with their decisions, from where to eat to how you spent your weekends. You got used to giving in, not because you were weak, but because you believed peace was worth the sacrifice. But then one day you changed. You said, I want to stay home tonight. I need time for myself. They didn't argue, didn't confront you, but suddenly they became distant. The messages slowed down, the calls stopped, and you realized that their presence in your life came with a condition. You had to play by their rules. The moment you broke those rules, the moment you asserted your independence, they no longer had a reason to stay. So what is the truth here? They didn't leave because you became worse, they left because you became stronger. Stoicism teaches us that independence is the path to freedom, but not everyone is willing to walk that path with you. Some people only value you when you fit into the script they've written, when you are predictable, moldable, easy to influence, when you cut those invisible strings, when you stand up and live by your own values. They feel a loss not of you, but of the control they once had over you. And instead of adjusting, instead of learning to respect your freedom, they choose to leave because they cannot accept a version of you that they cannot control. This may make you feel lonely for a moment. You may wonder, am I wrong for choosing myself? Should I give in just to keep them around? But pause and reflect. If a relationship only exists when you surrender your autonomy, is it truly a relationship? Or is it just a setup where you play the submissive role to make them comfortable? Stoicism does not teach us to live for the approval of others. It teaches us to live in a way that our soul is not imprisoned. Their silence is not a punishment. It is proof that you are living authentically, that you have chosen the difficult but honorable path of freedom. So what should you do when this happens? Stay firm. Every time you set a boundary, every time you say no to manipulation, you cut another string that has tied your soul down. Do not fear their departure. Be grateful for it, because they have removed themselves from your life, making space for those who will respect you as an independent person, not as a tool for their desires. Think of this as a filtering process. The people who truly value you will stay, will adjust to accept your freedom, even if it means relinquishing some of their control. And the ones who leave, they never truly belong to you. They belong to the illusion of you that they had created. Your independence is a fire, and their silence is the wind. It may pass through, but it cannot extinguish you. Stand firm, not to prove anything to them, but to affirm to yourself that you deserve a life that is unbound, uncontrolled. And when you do that, you will realize that loneliness is not the price you pay, it is the reward. because it grants you a peace that no one can take away. Truth 5. Your growth makes them uncomfortable. When you rise, when you grow in your mindset, your career, your once abandoned dreams, some people will step away. Not because they hate you, not because you did anything wrong, but because your light shines on the shadows within them. You become a living mirror, reflecting what they could achieve if only they dared to step outside their comfort zone. But instead of facing that truth, instead of growing with you, they choose silence, a silence filled with unease, avoidance, and sometimes quiet resentment. Think about an old friend from college, the one who once sat with you on a campus bench dreaming about a big future. Back then, you were on the same level, the same worries, the same limitations, the same small habits. But then you started changing. You signed up for a new course, started a small business, read books that expanded your mind. At first, they cheered you on. I'm so proud of you. Keep going. But as you kept climbing, as you let go of old routines, as you set bigger goals, their attitude shifted. The compliments faded, replaced by vague remarks, you've changed, or you're not the same anymore. Then, finally, silence. No more calls, canceled meetups, and the realization that they no longer wanted to be around you. Why does this happen? Because your growth is not just a personal journey, it is an unspoken invitation, a challenge they don't want to face. When you rise, you remind them that they too have the ability to do the same, that they could shed laziness, fear, or complacency and become a better version of themselves. But rather than accept that invitation, rather than climb the mountain of self-improvement with you, they choose to stay at the base where everything is familiar, safe, and requires no effort. Their silence is not a rejection of you, it is a rejection of themselves, a way to avoid looking into the mirror you unknowingly placed before them. This may hurt. It may make you feel alone. You may wonder, should I slow down? Should I shrink myself to keep them around? But Stoicism teaches us an unshakable truth. Do not make yourself small to please others. Let them choose to climb or stay behind. Your growth is not an accusation, it is a gift, not only for you but for those around you. But if they cannot accept that gift, if they choose silence instead of support, that is their choice, not your failure. You are not responsible for standing still just to make them comfortable. Your responsibility is to keep rising, to continue becoming the best version of yourself, even if that means walking alone. So how do you face this truth without letting it hold you back? Start by accepting that not everyone is ready for your journey. Write down 3 things you are improving in your life: your health, your career, your inner peace. Then look around. Who celebrates your progress, no matter how small? Who stands beside you, not just as a bystander, but as a true ally pushing you forward? Those are your people. They don't just walk with you, they elevate you. And those who leave, they are the shadows at the foot of the mountain, unwilling to climb, unable to face the light you bring. Think of your growth as a fire. It shines, it warms, but it can also burn those who are not ready to come close. Their silence is their way of protecting themselves, but it does not have the power to dim you. Keep climbing, not to prove anything to them, but to live fully within your own potential. And when you do, you will see that loneliness is not the price you pay, it is the reward. Because it gives you the space to become who you were always meant to be, unbound by those who are too afraid to dream as big as you. Truth 6. The truth you bring scares them. When you refuse to accept falsehood, when you ask questions, demand honesty, and refuse to live in the shadows of lies, some people will leave. Not because they don't care about you, but because they cannot bear the light of truth you carry. Your presence exposes what they try to hide: their selfishness, their manipulations, the masks they wear to conceal who they truly are. Their silence is not indifference, it is an escape, not from you, but from themselves, from the truth they cannot face. Think of someone who was once close to you, a colleague who laughed with you every day at work. You trusted them, shared stories, and believed the connection was built on sincerity. But then the signs started to appear: broken promises, inconsistencies, words that didn't align with actions. One day you decide to confront them, not with anger, not with accusations, but with a simple question: why didn't you tell me the truth? Why did you do this behind my back? They don't argue. They don't explain. They just fall silent, a heavy, lingering silence, then slowly fade from your life. And you are left wondering, was I wrong to ask for the truth? So, what is the real truth here? They did not leave because you were too harsh. They did not leave because you were unworthy. They left because they could not face the light you brought into the room. Stoicism teaches us that truth is the companion of an upright soul. But for those who build their lives on falsehood, truth is not a friend, it is a threat. When you live with honesty, when you refuse to participate in deception, you become a light that exposes everything, and those who are comfortable in the dark cannot stay. They fear not you, but what you force them to see: their own weaknesses, their dependence on lies to maintain the image they have carefully constructed. This may leave you feeling betrayed, hurt, even doubting yourself. You might wonder, should I have stayed silent? Should I have let things go just to keep the peace? But pause and reflect. Is a relationship built on deception truly worth keeping? If you must suppress the truth, if you must bow down to lies to keep someone around, what are you sacrificing? Not just surface-level peace, you are sacrificing your own integrity, the very foundation of your inner strength. Stoicism does not teach us to live for others' approval. It teaches us to live in a way that allows us to look in the mirror without shame. So how do you face this truth without letting it weaken you? Start by embracing honesty, even if only with yourself. The next time you sense that someone is living in deception, do not rush to confront them. Observe. Ask them a simple question, not to accuse, but to see how they react. If they run, if they choose silence over honesty, then you have your answer. They did not leave because of you, they left because they lacked the courage to live in the light you carry. Let them go, not with resentment, but with the calm understanding that truth, though painful, is the most reliable companion you will ever have. Their silence is a gift. It purifies your life, clearing out what is false and making space for relationships built on sincerity. When you choose to live with truth, you become a fire, not just a warm presence, but a force that burns away what is unworthy. Do not fear their departure, be grateful for it. Because you have chosen the higher path, a path no one can take away from you. Truth is your strength, and those who fear it have no place on your journey. Truth 7. Their departure is a gift to you. When people walk away, when they choose silence over staying, it can feel like a deep wound to the soul. You may feel empty, betrayed, rejected. You may ask yourself, what did I do to make them leave? Do I deserve to be treated this way? But if you pause, if you look deeper into this truth, you will see that their silence is not a loss, it is a gift that life has given you. It frees you from false connections, creates space for those who truly deserve your light, and most importantly, gives you the chance to rediscover yourself. Think about your old group of friends, the ones you used to meet every weekend, share drinks and laughter, and talk about life's little things. You thought they would always be there, that this friendship was an unshakable part of your life. But then you changed. Maybe you started focusing on your family, your health, or a long-lost dream. You no longer had time for late-night outings, no longer enjoyed meaningless small talk. And what happened? They slowly disappeared. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. At first you felt empty, like you had lost something valuable. But then one day you met a new group, maybe at a book club, a yoga class, or through a random acquaintance. And these people didn't just stay, they celebrated your growth, embraced the person you were becoming, and walked alongside you on your new journey. Marcus Aurelius, who faced loss and betrayal throughout his life, once wrote, "Welcome what comes, and let go of what leaves." The silence of those who left was never a curse. It was the space you needed to breathe, to build relationships based on truth, respect, and mutual growth. They did not leave to make you smaller, they left to make room for those who will grow with you, those who will see you not just as who you were, but as who you would be becoming. Their departure is a gift, though at first, it may be wrapped in pain, because it gives you the chance to see clearly who truly belongs in your life. But why does this matter? Because life is not a collection of unchanging relationships. It is a process of refinement, where what no longer serves you naturally falls away, leaving only what is meant to last. When you accept this, you will realize that loneliness is not the price you pay, it is the reward. Their silence does not leave you empty, it makes you whole, because it forces you to return to yourself, to the inner strength you may have forgotten while trying to please others. So how do you embrace this gift without letting pain overshadow it? Start with a simple but powerful act. Today, in your heart, thank someone who has left your life. Not because they deserve it, not because you need to forgive them, but because you deserve the peace their absence has given you. Then lift your head and focus on those who remain, those who call just to ask, how are you today? Those who don't need you to prove anything to still cherish you. They are proof that you were never truly alone, you were simply making room for those who truly see you. Their departure is like the wind passing through your fire. It may make the flames flicker, but it cannot extinguish you. Stand firm, not to hold on to them, but to fully embrace yourself. And when you do, you will see that silence is not your enemy, it is your ally, guiding you toward a life that is more genuine, stronger, and freer than ever before. We have journeyed through 7 profound truths about others' silence, ranging from subtle tests, silent exploitation, to the fear of your light. But what is the core message of this path? No one can take away your inner peace unless you allow them to. Their departure is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of a new chapter, one where you stand firm, stronger than ever before. Live like Clara's lantern, burning brightly in the silence, unshaken by the wind, needing no validation from those who refuse to see. If these words resonate with you, if they stir something deep within your soul, I invite you to share this video with someone who might need it. Leave a comment below, a note of gratitude, a reflection, so we can learn and grow together. Others' silence is not darkness, it is the light that helps you see yourself. Keep that fire alive in your heart, not to illuminate the path for others, but to guide yourself forward. Do not fear when they leave. Be grateful because you are still here, unshaken, resolute, and free. Step forward with all the strength you have always carried within you.